How's it going, guys, and welcome to a review of Mega Man X. So I'm an amateur when it comes to the Mega Man X series. Don't have a lot of experience with it. So I thought, let's check it out. Especially around the corner is the Mega Man X collection. So what a better time to look at it. So let's see what I thought about the very first entry in the Mega Man X series. Hope you guys all enjoy the review. Welcome to the future with Mega Man X. And a little bit of a hilarious thing to mention at the start of the game is I remember I was a kid reading about this game in Nintendo Power, and I thought it was Mega Man 10. I wasn't a big fan of the Mega Man series, and I really didn't grow up with these games, and it would be later on in life that I would find out about them as a teenager. And so I thought that I thought it was Mega Man 10. Little did I know that Mega Man 9 wasn't even made yet. So this game takes place in the future, and we're not the normal Mega Man anymore. We are X, Mega Man X. And, you know, this game is pretty similar to the other Mega Man games. You fight robot masters, which are called Mavericks in this game, and instead of Dr. Wily, our main villain is Sigma. I gotta say that, I always have a place in my heart for Dr. Wily over Sigma. It's kind of like when people say, Sonic the Hedgehog games are always about thwarting Dr. Robotnik, but, if Robotnik wasn't in the game in some shape or form, it would be a little bit, I kind of think back to games like Sonic and the Secret Rings, and it just doesn't feel right when Robotnik is not the last guy you go up against. So, I understand it's in the future, so Dr. Wily is long gone, just like Dr. White, but Dr. White at least makes a few appearances here. I kind of think it would be a little bit interesting if they would have had Dr. Wily appearing as a cyborg, and that would have made for some interesting storyline. But in the Mega Man X series, you don't even see Dr. Wily at all, so I'm surprised that they didn't use that type of idea. It's just something funny that I thought about, because it's comical. Everybody likes to say how many times Mega Man, the original Mega Man, had thwarted Dr. Wily, yet he still keeps coming back in future games. So, no cyborg or anything like that. So, this game is pretty critically acclaimed. It is, actually, to me, I gotta say, it's probably one of the easiest Mega Man games that I've played. It's definitely easier than 2. I had a much easier time playing this game than a lot of the NES classics. Definitely an easier game than the classic series by far. I feel like the enemy placement is a lot more fair in this game, and I don't feel like I'm getting hit every 2 seconds. And you can be a little bit more liberal with your movements, I feel. You could, take a few chances, take a few hits. So I felt in the NES games, you really couldn't fuck around. Like, you take a few hits, and you're pretty much a goner. You couldn't really afford to get hit at all. In this game, you're allowed to be a bit more careless. And the Mavericks, though, on the other hand, I'm talking about the main levels when I talk about that the game is not that difficult. But on the boss battles, they might be even more difficult than a lot of the NES Robot Masters. You gotta be pretty spot on, and you gotta know your strategies. And some of these boss battles, I've noticed something that's a bit funny is that you could actually hide in the corner a lot of times from these Mavericks. And you can see right here on the screen what I mean. Which is another ability that X has that the original Mega Man did not have, and that's a pretty cool wall jump. And you could also factor this in with other upgrades that you receive, such as a dash attack. You'll also get a helmet too, where you could break blocks. And this leads to one of the more frustrating parts in the game for a lot of people. I mean, look at this. This is absolutely bananas. I just want to get up there. I just want the capsule, but you have to stand on the tippy edge of this platform here to get all the way up there. And you have to get lucky, and you gotta tap the button like a madman, but with a little patience and many, many tries later, you'll finally get up there. Now, the first one, the dash boots, is right out there in the open, so you'll have no problem attaining that upgrade, because that upgrade is pretty much needed. The other one's not so much. You're probably going to want to get the armor upgrade, especially when you enter the fight with Sigma, because trust me, you're going to need every last bit of health you could get. And the game is pretty generous with health. You have to find it, though. You know, you could collect energy tanks and you could collect sub-tanks as well, which will definitely benefit you in the Maverick battles and definitely in the Sigma battle, where I already said you're going to need all the help you can get in that last final boss battle. So you're probably going to want to take some time out and collect these things. Now, there's a lot of collectibles in this game, and the password system helps you out if you're playing this on the original SNES. I played this game on my SNES Classic, and I have to say that save states definitely help in this game, because there's so much. You're going to have to remember so many passwords, and if you don't want to cheat, you're going to want to have to enter the right password. Each password corresponds with how many upgrades you received and which robot masters you defeated. It gets so complicated, you're just going to be begging to play this with save states. So, you know, people are going to probably want to emulate this or something. Now, you know, if you want to do it like the classic way, by all means, pick up a copy on the SNES and try to play it through with the passwords, but I wouldn't even dream of it. That just seems very frustrating with all those passwords. And I know there was a time, I'm from that time, where gaming was about passwords, but there was no excuse when you had games like Super Mario World at the time that had a save file on the cartridge, especially because this cartridge was $60 when it came out. I think they could have afforded to put a save system in on this game where you could back up the data. I mean, it's not a very long game when you really factor it in. The stages are not long at all. They're pretty short. Especially Flame Mammoth stage. That's a pretty short level. There's some pretty short levels in this game. And I don't really see why we couldn't have a save system. But that might be why the developers figured, oh, it's a short game. But there's so many collectibles. The only collectible you're probably not going to want to do is the Hadouken. Yes, I know it's cool. You can do reuse Hadouken from Street Fighter fame. But the circumstances for obtaining it are so circumstantial that you're probably not going to want to even bother with that. It involves being on Armored Armadillo stage, and you have to visit this cliff for a certain amount of time, and your health has to be totally full. When you got stuff like that going on, it's just like, okay, I got everything else in the game, I'm done with it. It's kind of like what I talked about in my Donkey Kong Country 3 review. I'm not going to 103% this game. I'm just not going to do that because, trust me, I don't need that extra percentage to prove that I already got through the game. I got everything else. I'm not going to do the super challenging part that's going to make me rack my brain, make me burst into a cold sweat, and just, you know, scream in frustration every 2 seconds. No, thank you. I'll just stick with, you know, the original completion without having to go through all that nonsense. And the weapons are really cool in this game. Some of them feel more basic than certain other Mega Man games. They're not as outlandish. You do get the, you get your flame weapon, you get your electric weapon, you get your ice weapon, but they do different things. And if you get your Buster upgrade, you're going to be able to do a lot more with these upgrades, such as, you know, with the ice upgrade, you'll be able to create a platform which you could ride on, and you'll be able to charge up any of these weapons, producing a more effective shot from Mega Man's Buster. So there's definitely a lot of variety in the weapons, and you combine this with the wall jump and the dash, and you have a recipe here for a lot of different gameplay variety. And I think Mega Man plays the best he ever has, really, in this part, and that really lends itself to Mega Man X's fame. So they did a good job of setting X apart from the original Mega Man. You don't feel like you're playing as the same character. His sprite looks pretty good, futuristic, and the armor. And after he gets all his upgrades, he looks pretty awesome. So the game's graphics are pretty good. There's a nice use of color. You've got some nice backgrounds going on. The levels are varied. I probably would have liked to see, you know, maybe a few more outdoor levels. There's a lot of levels like Armadillo and Flame Mammoth and Spark Mandrill where you're just like inside all the time, and sometimes there's really not that much variety going on, and Flame Mammoth is kind of a really boring level, I have to say. If I had to pick, it's a very bland level, and I think they could have done a lot more with the lava. I mean, I would have just liked to see something like maybe set in the volcano or something like that. Now, before anybody mentions this in the comments, I am fully aware that it only matters if you complete certain stages in a certain order that affects how the levels look. But while that might be a cool little touch and give continuity to the levels, the fact that you beat Ice Penguin before you go to Flame Mammoth and the whole thing is completely frozen over and all the fire is gone, well, that completely ruins Flame Mammoth stage. So, you know, most people, I was looking at lists when I play this game, most people recommend that you go for Ice Penguin first. Okay, so then if you do Ice Penguin first, so Flame Mammoth then has to be completely lame and devoid of any cool set pieces because you chose the wrong Maverick to go after first. I'm sorry, I mean, that's cool, and I know a lot of people chalk that up to creative game design, but I say that it's also a double-edged sword. It's a little bit off-putting that, well, if you don't do the levels in the certain order, well, certain levels are going to end up being a bit lame. I'm not saying that Flame Mammoth is a bad level, but they might have wanted to think this through a bit before they actually made it this way. It doesn't really fit in with the whole Flame Mammoth theme. I would have liked them to see them do a little bit better with that. Probably if I had to pick my favorite, I do like Armored Armadillo's stage. That is a lot of fun, just getting to ride on that cart, just blasting at everything in front of you. So you know, you've got a nice little gimmick in there with the mine cart that you could ride on. Spark Mandrill, there's a lot going on in that level, a lot of different obstacles, and probably the most enemies in any part of the game. I hate these damn birds, though! God, there's nothing more frustrating than trying to wall climb, and all of a sudden one of these birds just comes and knocks you into the pit below. So there's definitely some classic frustration parts in Mega Man X, but I gotta say, they're definitely far and few between compared to the NES classic games before it. So there's definitely an appreciation for that. It's definitely not a pushover of a game, but I definitely feel like the game is definitely easier. It's more accessible for people that, you know, are just didn't really feel that hard difficulty challenge from all the NES classic games. So if you're not a big fan of the classic series, there is definitely a chance that you might actually like this game due to the reduced difficulty level of it. And that's definitely, that's a good way of going about it. You know, some of those games are really difficult. They made you want to tear your hair out. So Mega Man X, you could kind of, you know, take it a little bit easy. And also, you know, at the end, Sigma is all about a pattern. And I think this boss battle was a bit lazily laid out, to say the least, with Sigma. I do appreciate the last part of it, but him coming at you with the lightsaber, and pretty much what this boss battle is all about, is kind of what I'm showing here on the screen right here, is you're just kind of hiding in the corner. You have to wait till he almost comes up to the top to attack you, then you drop down, hit him with the spark upgrade, and then jump back up and do the same thing again. I would like to see a little bit more variety, a few more attacks from him, but at least there is another phase to the battle where he just fuses with a giant robot in the background. And this damn dog is just annoying. This is pretty much all about, just maintaining your health until you can fight Sigma. So I have kind of mixed feelings about the Sigma battle, but they're mostly positive. It's just, I would like to see a bit more variety to the little lightsaber fight. And then, they really had no shame in here ripping off Star Wars. I mean, he's got a full-blown lightsaber here. So, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review for Mega Man X. This is a really good game. Definitely reduced difficulty, so it's more accessible to new Mega Man fans, people trying to get into the series who might have missed out previously. So overall, I had a very positive experience with Mega Man X. In fact, I loved it. Great graphics, great music, a few little minor qualms here and there, but nothing major. And I gotta say, I want to check out Mega Man X2. So you can look for a review of that in the future. In the meantime, check out my other game reviews. Check out my other other videos on this channel. Subscribe. Click the bell. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time.